You do not realize that when you ask this question, you are standing at the very foundation of reality. If we liken what we call reality to a stage, your mind is an actor playing on that stage. Without the stage, the basis of reality, your true self, awareness, you cannot put on your show. Your mind, ego, gets so caught up in the play, drama, comedy, tragedy, that you forget the stage and think the play you're playing is real. It's just your mind, ego, illusion. The stage knows you, mind, character, knows the play, and knows the audience. So everything belongs to the stage, awareness, your true self. Without a stage, there would be no you, your mind, no play, no audience. This is what is meant by if you stage. Your true self do not exist. This world does not exist. This is what is meant by you do not live in the world. The world lives in you. You, mind, is there because there is a stage. The play could be played because there is a stage. The audience is there because there is a stage. But reality is not the stage. It's just exact copy of the reality. This is what is meant by I and the Father are one, John 10 verse 30. Although the stage knows all this, it does not know itself. But there is one that knows the stage. In other words, what we call reality is both the stage. The play can be played on it, the person playing it and the audience. It is reality that knows all of this, God. Does reality exist, or is it just an illusion of our mind? Reality is the never-changing, eternal and absolute knowledge of self. Spatiotemporal existence is indeed temporary and therefore it cannot be said to be real. Soul/spanda is non-local, undying, real, consciousness assuming the form of a subtle energy toroidal field and carries the original design of existence or DNA template. Each soul knows, as in possess, a different design, a different DNA coding. Fractally mirroring the energetic network organization of the soul, the densifid and spatialized DNA brain body is AI designed as a result of crystallization and is therefore localized. Frozen in time and entropic. It grows, decays, and dies and can be compared to a supercomputer in many aspects. Without electricity, the brain is just inert matter and it can only perform neuronal tasks according to pre-programmed encoding. There is no cosmic, divine, or natural intelligence hiding inside the brain, only data. Our visual perception is truly internal, holographic, and recursive, occurring on the concave surface of the toroidal field surrounding a soul's nodal point, its own center. The entire universal expanse, thus, is just a tiny bubble of EM radiations in which we conjure up the whole space with a transparent dream image. Instantaneously transmitted by the optic nerves into our opened eyes where a globular and split image appears for us. Eyes are the mirrors of the soul. Splitting it into two images, the false duality, and we naturally identify with it as being external. Because it appears to be in front and outside from the soul sitting at center of the brain where the sense of vision, the space-time nodal point, happens when our awareness is directed outwards. When redirected inward, however, we are able to disidentify from the objective, AI-based split vision of the so-called outside world seen inside the eyes only. This effectively stops the world from being externalized and manifest as a de facto, real, physical expanse out there. Since the real world never is out there, really not. Instead, the truth is finally seen for what it always was. The image of the world is conjured up by AI in the center of the brain, and only then it is split and reflected in the globular space inside the eyes where it acquires the added qualities of color, texture, and therefore density. The vision happens from the soul only, who may be located in the center of the brain during externalized mode. Mostly due to the opening of the eyelids, or in the heart center when the eyes are closed or when the soul is internalized through introspection, self-inquiry, meditation, and in sleep. Therefore the soul is non-local but can be phase-locked, entangled with its own mirror image when it is externalized and immersed in the so-called external world. Dreams may occur in the center of the brain, in the case of AI-simulated space, based on algorithmic patterns and visual memories, when the data is being compartmentalized as in defragment inside DNA/RNA memory blocks for further storage. Or dreams may occur in the heart space, in which case they are highly coherent and vivid, thanks to the much higher hyperconductivity existing around the God nodal point. The heart of hearts, when we are deep in meditation in the heart of hearts, we live a very highly perfected spiritual experience of self, in an eternal and wonderful dream world where no opposition, duality, ever enter. This is the privilege of the truly desireless and fearless souls who are identified only with the truth at the core of all existence. There never is an external world outside the awareness of the body. The awareness of the body is equal to the awareness of an external world, and both are one and the same expression as a recursive dream imagery. Only pure consciousness is real. Sat Chitananda, OM, according to Kashmiri Shaivism. Spanda is the primary oscillation or throb of energy in which the pure consciousness is mirrored, and which takes a toroidal shape. The soul is the nodal point through which the pure self, or God, can observe the dream creations in all directions at once, provided it is perfectly still and self-centered. Reality is awareness. This awareness expresses itself in various forms. Matter and physical objects are some of those forms. The nature of the mind is such that it creates an image of reality, an idea of what reality is, based on the information a human gets from physical senses, and based on its own internal needs, cravings, preferences, instincts, mental concepts, as well as those received from other humans, from human cultures. The mental perception being limited to what the human senses can perceive, to the spectrum of light, spectrum of sound, level of taste, touch, the human body can sense, and being heavily influenced by one's own mental activity, as well as the mental activity of others, is then being projected onto reality. The mind, for the most part, does not realize that what it perceives is its own projection of what is, rather than what actually is. In this sense, it can be said that a mind does live an illusion it itself creates. The physical existence on this plane of existence we call Earth is and seems like reality to almost everyone on the planet, but a 3D illusion to some who are no longer at a third-level density and have achieved the ability to tap into the quantum reality where higher densities abound. Science is proving that experiences we have in life lead to more information about such quantum realities, and all that we see, touch, feel, etc. is real to us because we have not yet learned how to tap into those higher energy dimensions. When we remember that the soul within each of us is merely borrowing our meat bodies, and that this illusion we are all living is really a dream, then moving to the next level of consciousness and of pure energy is not only achievable by each person, but as a society on a grander scale, and that is when true change in mankind's path will move from fear, war and chaos to harmony, love, and peace for everyone, whatever plane our consciousness may be acting in. Both we and the things belonging to that plane are, for the time being, our only realities. As we rise in the scale of development, we perceive that during the stages through which we have passed, we mistook shadows for realities. And the upward progress of the ego is a series of progressive awakenings, each advance bringing with it the idea that now, at last, we have reached reality, but only when we shall have reached the absolute consciousness, and blended our own with it, shall we be free from the delusions produced by Maya, illusion. Our Earth evolution consists of numerous successive chains, each of which is comprised of 7 globes as shown in the diagram. The chain which is in existence and evolution now, and which we call the Earth chain, had chains preceding it and which have already run their course, completed their evolution, and ceased to be. The future chains have not yet come into existence, but they will do so in the future. Successively, as each chain is the product of its predecessor, the former chain is known as the lunar chain or moon chain because the dead planet called the moon, which is the satellite of our current Earth, was the 4th globe of that prior chain. In other words, the sphere which is now our moon was at one time the former living planet Earth, on which we ourselves were evolving in much lower kingdoms of nature. This was of course untold billions of years ago and is virtually incomprehensible to us. Our attempts to imagine what it may have been like will in no way be accurate. The evolutionary life wave passes through each chain 7 times, and these are collectively referred to as the 7 rounds. Each round sees humanity reaching a significantly higher level of evolution, both inward and outward, but the inward being the most important. A round begins on the first globe of a chain and causes that globe to become active and alive. 7 major epochs of civilization occur during each of these periods, and in theosophy these are called the 7 root races, since each of them sees a new major race or type of humanity coming to the forefront and predominating. Once the 7 root races, or their equivalent periods of evolution in those rounds prior to humanity's appearance and development, have run their destined course of evolution, the round of the life wave passes on to the 2nd globe and so on, all the way up to and including the 7th globe, with 7 root races arising each time. When the evolutionary life wave leaves one of the globes of the chain and passes into the next globe, the globe it has left enters a period of inactivity with only a bare minimum of life, non-human, left on it, until the life wave eventually reaches that particular globe again, which will be the next round. So to define a round in the simplest way possible, looking at the above diagram, imagine a beam of light, symbolizing the impulse for life and evolution, passing extremely slowly in a circuit from the first globe all the way through to the 7th globe, and lighting up only one globe at a time, prior to passing on to the next after many billions of years. That circuit from 1st to 7th is what we call a single round through the planetary chain. And this is what occurs 7 times, these being called the 7 rounds. Those 7 rounds are what constitute the life and duration of any planetary chain. We are currently on the 4th globe of our chain, and this chain is in its 4th round. This current period of our Earth civilization is its 5th successive major epoch, termed the 5th root race. The first root race on our globe during this 4th round is referred to by us as the Polarian root race. HPB herself did not call it Polarian or any other definite and specific name, but we do so to aid comprehension, seeing as this is certainly an ideal term for it, based on the secret doctrine. The 2nd root race was the Hyperborean root race. The 3rd root race was the Lemurian root race. The 4th root race was the Atlantean root race, and this 5th root race is referred to as the Aryan or Indo-Caucasian root race. Each root race consists of 7 subraces. The 6th subrace of the 5th root race may very gradually begin to come about over the next few hundred years, but the 6th root race is a very long way off indeed. Most of us who are humans today were almost certainly animals on the moon chain. And those who are currently animals today will be humans on the next chain, as every monad, every divine spark which has been sent forth from the Absolute, evolves progressively and gradually through the elemental kingdoms. The mineral kingdom, vegetable kingdom, animal kingdom, into the human kingdom and beyond. Life can never be static but is always developing, advancing, and evolving, ever onward, ever upward, ever Godward. By the time of the subsequent chain, we who are humans today will have entered into a far higher and more spiritual state of existence. In the great evolutionary scheme, each round of the life wave through our Earth chain, and to a lesser extent, each root race during each round, is intended to develop one of the 7 principles in the human constitution to perfection, or at least a vastly greater degree of perfection than it previously had. But if we don't know or understand what our 7 principles are,